Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to March Mystery Madness. A little bit earlier I did a video that was sort of laid the groundwork of some of the types of mysteries that we are going to be talking about all month long, me and my co-hosts of March Mystery Madness, which is a venerable BookTube event in which we celebrate all things murder mystery. I talked in general terms of some of those categories: location-based, cozy, madcap, noir, police procedural. But I also want to talk about specific murder mysteries all month long. And, as you know, if you watch this channel, I have a lot of new subscribers, but you probably have the lay of the land by now. And I also have an unruly mob of old subscribers who know me like the back of their hand by now. If you know that mostly this channel is about new releases. I occasionally, in winter, it's very occasionally, but I occasionally do go out and splurge on, at thrift shops or Savers or the Brattle Bookshop here in Boston, on older books, gems from the past that I either want to resavor or try for the first time. But most of this channel reflects most of my reading, which is new releases, new and forthcoming books. And that's where I'm going to draw most of the individual mystery discussions that I make from, including the one I want to talk about today. This is the second book in a series. We saw, I think, the first volume in this series on this channel, and it's by Mario Giordano, and it is Auntie Poldi and the Vineyards of Etna. And this is the follow-up to Auntie Poldi and the Lions of Sicily, I believe was the first one. Do I have a... And the Sicilian Lions. Auntie Poldi and the Sicilian Lions was the first one. This is by Mario Giordano, who that is Mario Giordano, and it's translated from the Italian by John Brownjohn, who does a great job. He's a very practiced, very experienced translator. And this is about the titular character, Auntie Poldi, who well, let me read you a little bit about it here. Who could forget Poldi? This is how the pub sheet talks, and this will give you a hint of what kinds of, which of those subcategories of mysteries this book falls under, the series falls under. Who could forget Poldi? The aunt your mother warned you about, the most fiery, wine-loving, fashion-forward sleuth you'll ever encounter. And now she's back in her second book. When prosciutto-loving Auntie Poldi retired to Sicily from Germany, she never dreamed her tranquil days would be interrupted by murder. But Sicily had other plans, and Poldi found herself honor-bound to solve the disappearance of her beloved and cute handyman. Now she's finally ready for some peace and quiet, interrupted by romantic encounters with handsome Chief Inspector Montana. When the water supply to her neighborhood is cut off and a dear friend's dog is poisoned, telltale signs that a certain familial organization is flexing its muscles. Poldi knows there will be no resolution without her help. Of course. She soon finds a body in the vineyard, tangles with the mafia, and yet again makes herself unpopular in the pursuit of justice. But once wine and murder mix, how could she possibly stay away? So you see, what I was talking about in that earlier video is that mystery is a huge umbrella, and it shelters a huge number of subgenres, and the thing about those subgenres is that they slosh all over the place and mix and match, and you can go where you like the emphasis to be. You can see already a lot of the subcategories I talked about just in this series. Auntie Poldi is an amateur sleuth, first of all. She's just a pensioner living in Sicily. She has no official standing of any kind. And it's also madcap, because she is a madcap character. She's not calm and sober and deliberative. Things happen to her and she goes at them with full passion. And also, obviously, this is location driven. This is the first book. I really liked it, and the second one is very much the same. These are Sicily novels, very much so, designed just to chock every page with atmospheric details about Sicily. And I want to recommend this series, provided that's the kind of mystery that you like. Her flirting with Chief Inspector Montana quickly becomes carnal. And that's necessary, because they can't just be friends. The only way that she's going to get insider information on anything is to be allied with the police. And that happens. And in this book, there's a scene that shifts straight from that to murder. I want to read you a bit of it just to give you a flavor for this series, because this is harmless, cozy location fiction at its finest. There are no high stakes. Poldi, she's always called Poldi, not Auntie Poldi. Poldi is never going to walk into the charred remains of a church and find the dead, mutilated body of her first husband decapitated with the head of her eldest child stitched on and a note carved in blood on the chest saying, "Again." That's not going to happen in a location-driven cozy mystery. Instead, this is meant to make you smile, even though it's based on a murder. And we have here the moment that Poldi and Montana yield to their baser instincts. So Montana and Poldi fell on each other like animals when the following Friday came. Everything went smoothly. The conflagration of lust was followed by a short breather. They shared a beer, and she pumped him about his current case. It was only natural, given that Poldi was making no progress with the lady case, that's another case that's mentioned earlier in the book, that she should want to at least dip her finger into the honeypot of an ongoing murder inquiry, if only for her inner equilibrium's sake. You get a sense there of there's a dry Italian humor that runs through these books. It's actually more pronounced in the second book than it was in the first one, and it's a strong recommendation for the series, is that this is smartly written. And Montana, being no fool either, appreciated this. Besides, he was happy to be able to circumnavigate certain sandbanks, certain awkward questions affecting their relationship in this way. In other words, he's happy to talk business rather than maybe get her talking about marriage or his marriage. "I'm not really allowed to talk about it," he said. Poldi nodded gravely. "Of course not." She gave him a look. "Madonna, come off it. Tell me." A female, then he does tell her, but not in words. We get a brief description, and the description is so Italian. A female district attorney from Catania had been found dead in her second home in Arcireale, hit on the head from behind with a full bottle of wine. Poldi was instantly galvanized. Wine and murder, right up her street. And that gives you a taste of what this series is like. So it's the first one that I want to talk about. We're going to be talking about the categories of murder mysteries, and this, you can see already some of the categories that this embodies. It's a location thing, it's a cozy thing, it's a madcap, eccentric character thing. And it does all of them really well. It's translated from its original language, but the translator is extremely adept. And so if you, not all of my individual series and book discussions will be recommendations, I don't think, unless the month is exceptionally gifted. But I can recommend this, provided you're okay with the drawbacks of those subgenres, which is that none of it is particularly believable. And like I mentioned, that woman, the woman that's mentioned there, who's killed by being struck on the head with a full bottle of wine, is still dead. You're just supposed to, in light stakes murders like the series like this, you're supposed to brush that off. Not sure that's entirely healthy to do, but you are. You're supposed to brush that off. And in the first book in this series, a slightly more somber note does surface from time to time. And in this book too, not so much connected with the murder as connected with the mafia. But either way, this is satisfying. So this comes out in... did I mention? Yeah, this is early March. This comes out right away, and it gets a recommendation. So that's going to be the first specific book and series that we talk about for March Mystery Madness. And we will meet again tomorrow and talk about another thing. So I'll see you then. Thank you, Book 2.